A quarter of all Melbourne property investors have sold a rental home in the past year, making our city the worst place to invest in Australia. The chair of the Property Investors Council of Australia, Ben Kingsley, joins us now. Ben, good afternoon. Why are so many people selling up?
Well, Michael, it's a combination of things, but the most important things is really the holding cost of property in Victoria is getting so expensive that investors are opting out of that particular market. So that's our biggest challenge. We've got compliance costs in addition to obviously this new land tax premium that we're going to see on the 1st of January. And finally, obviously, those rising interest rates are the main three drivers of seeing property investors tap out of the Victorian market.
Ben, just talk about that new land tax levy. Is that going to make the situation even worse? Are we going to see even more property investors sell out?
Yeah, we are, Mike. What's basically happening is we're seeing in terms of rankings across all states and territory, Victoria is seen as the worst investment state for future investment. So that is a real challenge. And we think about that COVID levy that's also being introduced from the 1st of January. That's going to mean the cost of property for an additional 600,000 property investors is going to go higher in terms of those higher land taxes.
So what will this mean for the supply of rental accommodation across Victoria then?
Well, it's got to be super concerning for the government because ultimately, if you don't have that small business owner, that investor who's going to come in and invest that money for that supply, ultimately it's going to contract the supply of available property in Victoria. And that's going to put extreme pressure on what is already a very, very tight rental market in Victoria and especially in Melbourne.
We're so often seeing landlords portrayed as greedy. Is that helping the situation?
Well, Mike, the survey also shows a clear indication in terms of the amount of costs that have been passed on to the actual renters has been less than 25% in 83% of the cases. So you're basically seeing at the moment the actual mum and dad property investor is subsidising to a degree the rental increases that are happening right across Melbourne and right across Victoria.
So, Ben, on the flip side, is it good news for first home buyers trying to enter the market right now?
Yeah, it's definitely a great opportunity and we'd love to see everyone own property eventually across Australia. So I think that's an important positive message here that if an investment property is being sold, it's either being sold to another owner-occupier, a first home buyer, or potentially another investor. But that again is the problem here. The chronic amount of investment supply that we're going to have is going to be really challenged and that's not easily solved. There's potentially going to be many, many years of really tight rental market in Victoria.
So lots of problems. What's the solution here, Ben?
Oh, look, this is not easily solved, but what we do need is bring the investor back into the table. I mean, effectively, investors need to be encouraged to be investing here. What we're seeing in other states and territory is their rules and regulations around tenancy reform are being relaxed to encourage investment into those markets. So Victoria is the outlier here in terms of the worst state in Australia to looking to invest. So governments are going to need to engage and to provide some type of stimulus or incentive to get those investment dollars flowing back into Victoria.
Ben, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.